Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and we're going to do a first impressions video today, and that is of the HiFiMan Svanar in-ear monitor. This is a $2,000 US single dynamic driver in-ear monitor from HiFiMan. It is their new flagship in their IEM line. So I will drop some quick thoughts about this here in this video. It is a first impressions video, so I reserve the right to change my mind, roll back any opinions that I leave here, or double down on any of them when it comes around to the full review. HiFiMan sent the Svanar to me for evaluation. They have asked nothing in return other than a fair and honest evaluation. They are a very hands-off company. They have never once tried to tell me which way to steer a review, and so I really appreciate the freedom that they allow me to report on what I hear and what I experience with their products, and this one will be no different. So let's do shameless self-promotion, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my first initial impressions of the Svanar IEM. Hey, thanks for watching this video. Please remember to hit that like button, and if you haven't, please subscribe. Also, I have a Patreon set up so that you can help support me on a monthly basis, and I've set up a PayPal donation so that you can help me out in that way too if a monthly subscription does not make sense for you. Links for all of that, including the benefits, in the description below. Please check those out. All right, on with the show. We'll save the ins and the outs of all the tech and the specifications and the details of the build for the full review. I will just comment in this video briefly about one build thing that I've noticed and then a couple of sound things that I have noticed already. And then again, we'll save the rest for the full review here. So let's start with that little build quirk here that I have noticed so far. And that is, these are a really shallow insert IEM. I hope that that shows up well on the camera there. I'll hold it well so that it focuses. But the nozzle does not stick out very far, so this does not go very deep into the ear. It is among the shallowest of IEMs that I have used so far in that way. So a lot of the tips that you might be using or might be used to using for some IEMs may not work as well with this particular IEM, because like most of the tips that I have used and all of that, and I've tried several so far, it mostly just feels like it's kind of filling in the, this part of the outer ear, okay, right here at the opening of the ear canal, and it doesn't really go into the ear canal very far. So it is a different kind of fit as a result of that. So that's something that I will keep an ear on, literally, okay, going forward into the full review to see like what that changes and what that has for long-term comfort, what impacts that has on long-term comfort and that sort of thing. All right, as for the sound on this, it is also highly variable on tip rolling. It has so far shown itself to be the most variable IEM that I have heard with tip rolling. Every IEM changes a little bit in its sound signature, in its sound profile with changing tips. This one just does it more. The magnitude of the change is bigger. So a couple of things that I have noticed that are constant about the sound, regardless of tip though, are that there's a lot of resolution, there's a lot of detail and all that, but the detail presentation is kind of relaxed. It's a little bit more smooth, right, in the detail presentation, even though there seems to be a lot of resolution in there. All right, the sound stage is also very wide with a very holographic spatial presentation with the imaging and the separation in between, like within that sound field. So somehow HiFiMan seems to have figured out how to bring their really massive sound stage that they have with their big egg-shaped planar magnetic full-size headphones. Like these guys, 2 editions of the HE1000 series right here, like that sort of soundstage size, particularly in the width and in the depth, but not necessarily the height that I have noticed. But how they pulled that off in an IEM, I don't know, but it's quite impressive on that. And then the timbre, vocal timbre in particular, seems to be doing really well. Voices to my ear are sounding a lot like the real thing. And again, like if you've watched my channel, you're familiar that with I have either a very low tolerance and or a very high sensitivity to forward upper mids that make them sound shouty and honky to me, and I'm really not noticing that a whole lot on these, and voices and mid-range instruments are sounding like pretty natural in their timbre so far, which I like. And that, with the right tip, can come with very full and impactful low end and bass response. So there's some fun physicality in the sound here too. So other than that bass thing that I just mentioned, those are the traits that have held constant with the different tips that I have tried so far. I have tried a couple of the stock tips that came with this thing. I have tried Final E series. I tried a SpinFit CP155, I think, kind of the longer, narrower ones. And then these are on here right now are SpinFit CP145s. And so far, these are the ones that are the most complete package for me so far. But what I've noticed, like I noticed, you said there were frequency response differences when you roll tips on this one, are very noticeable. It's in the treble. The treble can be very forward and aggressive through the consonant range, where it's not necessarily sibilant or sharp, but like cymbal crashes and all of that are really pushed forward and can get fatiguing with some of the tips. The Final E series was an example of that. I think the stock tips, not quite to the degree, but it happened a little bit in there. And then the narrower, longer SpinFit CP something. I will look up that model number and put it in the description for you. I did that too. This one, like those mids are, or excuse me, that treble is a little bit more forward and still just a hair bit, too much aggressive for me so far. I might acclimate to it yet, we'll see. But it is controlling it better than most of the others so far. So that to me is like the thing that I'll be listening to the most going forward, is like what tip combination will give me the comfort and the fit that I need, but then also rein in that treble forwardness, which I think is probably like around the 4 to 5 kilohertz region, somewhere in there probably. Okay. But anyway, I'll be keeping an ear out for that. So, but I mean, there are definitely already some very, very impressive technical aspects to these IEMs. That treble presentation, I don't think is going to be too forward for many. Even with some of the tips that I tried in there, I think they're just going to like that brighter sound. And then again, like with most of the tips, save maybe the those longer, thinner CP140 or SpinFits, which just didn't get a very good seal for my ears. Like there's just a lot of bass extension, bass presence, rumble, and like physicality, slam, dynamic impact from the bass too. So my initial impression is positive. It's going to be a very good IEM and that I'm going to enjoy listening to it, but I have not fully fleshed out a full opinion on this piece yet. That's why this is a first impressions video. So I will go ahead and leave it there. I am Wave Theory. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and all of that. And be on the lookout for when the full review of the Svanar IEM drops. All right. Enjoy the music.